This video is kind of a thought experiment. In this video, I'm gonna walk you through how to set up ultra portable, yet at the same time powerful tech infrastructure for a worship ministry. I think this setup could be really cool for churches less than 50 people, and maybe your band has like 3 or 4 members in it, and you want to be able to still achieve a high level of production excellence. You want your band to sound really tight. You want to start using a click and tracks and have in-ears, yet at the same time, pretty much everything you see right here, minus the actual PA speakers, the projection screens and lighting fixtures, you don't see those here, but what you do see here is pretty much everything you need to make it possible in terms of controlling audio, visual, lighting, etc. And then you can even implement some advanced things like automation. So let's just get into it. Let me show you what we have. We have the Behringer X Air 18-channel mixer, and this guy is a powerful little beast. I think it's around $600 for this mixing console, and I would view it as a audio interface that can be used as a really powerful and portable mixing console. And you'll see here on the iPad, I have the app that actually controls this. So there's no hardware on this. It actually has its own Wi-Fi, and then my iPad is connected to the Wi-Fi that is coming from this little Behringer X Air, and that's how I'm able to control levels and such, and control a lot. So this is my mixer for this setup. And then in front of me, I have a laptop that is running some important apps. So first, I'm using Ableton Live for running a click and tracks and then some automation. I also have Ableton Live set up right now for my keyboard rig. So I have a couple tracks here dedicated to this piano. You can see it and hear it there. And then that's what Ableton Live's doing. So I got click, tracks, and then a keyboard rig. This is just a simple MIDI piano. The sounds are coming from Ableton. You could do the same thing with MainStage running on this computer. The next app I have is Proclaim. So this is a great app for presentation software, for displaying lyrics and videos in worship. And then I have Lightkey. So this would be for my lighting software. So when it comes to both Proclaim and Lightkey, obviously there's gonna be other hardware associated with this, right? So with Proclaim, you're gonna want a projector and a screen. And if you have enough dongles and connectivity on your laptop, you can plug in the HDMI output from the laptop, go to the projector, and you can project your screen. And then same thing for lighting. For Lightkey, I like using a USB to DMX interface, and then that can control your DMX lights. If I wanted to, I could fire up GarageBand or maybe another DAW on this computer to record audio, like record the sermon audio. And then maybe I could even run another application to capture video of the sermon. And of course, in these cases, like I'd have to have additional hardware like a video camera. But all that said, this is more of a thought experiment, kind of for fun, like how powerful of a system could I build, but also how small and compact could it be? And ideally, you're gonna wanna have a computer that's pretty beefy, pretty robust. This is a newer 15-inch MacBook Pro, which can run all these applications simultaneously with no problem. But I wanted to highlight how powerful this little guy is when it comes to all of your audio routing and mixing needs. So a cool thing you're able to do with a mixer like this is, like the X32 and bigger consoles, it is like a large audio interface, right? And you have about, I think it's 18 channels, including the auxiliary inputs, that you can route into this guy digitally through the USB port. So you have your local inputs, you plug microphones, other analog input sources into, but then you have this USB input. So when I go to the app, I can go to the routing section on the app, and then you'll see here, I have my channels on the left side of this grid, and I have the inputs pretty much routed one-to-one. It's cool, you can even patch things differently in here if you want. And then we have the USB returns section here. So this is where I can go, and I actually already went through and I mapped my USB returns appropriately for Ableton, which is running by click and tracks, and my keyboard rig, as well as just the general computer audio. So like when I'm playing music from Proclaim, like this, you're gonna see audio coming in through this presentation computer track that I have set up. And it looks like I forgot to turn that little feature off there. I had to switch channel 1 from USB to mic. But it's cool because I'm not even using DI boxes or anything like that. This computer is producing all the audio from Proclaim and from Ableton Live, and then it's sending that audio into the mixing console over USB. So let's go to the song Hallelujah here below. I'll play some audio here. You'll see we have 4 tracks dedicated for click, bass heavy tracks, tracks left and tracks right. And then when I start playing piano here, you'll see it come through the keys left and keys right channels. And this is all coming from Ableton through the USB into this little mixing console. And of course, I have my automation set up over the IAC driver on my Mac so that Ableton can talk to Proclaim and Light Key to send those cues. So when I go ahead and play some cues over here, you'll see the lyrics will start changing automatically in Proclaim. And then also, if I go over here to Light Key, those will change as well. So let's find a different lighting cue right here. So you see them change purple here, I think. Yep. So I just thought it was really fascinating how small yet powerful this type of system is. And of course, you want to get some, maybe some powered speakers. I really like the Electro Voice powered speakers, maybe the 12 on top and the 18s on bottom. And then you can also get some lighting fixtures. You know, when it comes to lighting and screens, it really depends on your context, what's going to work best. But this system is so small. This computer obviously is doing a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to putting out both the audio for click and tracks and keyboards, as well as from our presentation software when we have pre-service music, and then it also is going to produce our DMX signals for light as well as video for our projector. So this computer is doing a lot, and fortunately all these apps are pretty efficient. Ableton's super efficient and can handle all of this. And then when you look at the mixer here, you'll see this is not ideal for a huge band, right? If you have a couple vocalists, maybe a couple mics for your pastor and someone else, and you have a couple tracks for percussion. So maybe it wouldn't be a full band with a full drum set, or maybe it could just be a lightly mic'd drum set. Maybe you have one percussion track for a kick, and then one for an overhead, and then you have bass guitar, a couple electric guitars, acoustic, and maybe another extra instrument. I kind of just went through and I was like, okay, if I had only 16 channels, theoretically, how would I want to go through and set all of these things up? And then what's cool about this mixer is you can run in-ears. I would get the Behringer PM1 or the P1s or P2 headphone amps. You'd run XLR out of these outputs. You have up to 6 monitor mixes. Mono monitor mixes could be sent out of this guy to your musicians, which should be plenty of monitor mixes for a band of this size. So you could have really inexpensive in-ear monitoring with this type of setup. And one thing that's kind of quirky about this setup is you would want to make sure your laptop is pretty much right next to this guy. So maybe that's going to be backstage on the side of the stage somewhere. You want this to be on the stage so you don't have to get a digital stage box. You can plug everything into this. But maybe it could be off to the side of the stage, and you know, you'd have to basically be running everything automated, right? So maybe you could have someone backstage or on the side of the stage running this computer for the manual parts, but that of course is something you want to factor in. Is of course, like, you can automate this thing. This laptop could be next to this guy on stage. It could run by itself just fine. But of course, there's those moments in worship where things have to be manually run or queued. So you'll have to take that into consideration. So I guess the point I'm trying to make with this video is this technology has come such a long way with these different apps, these amazing pieces of hardware, that you can build a really powerful system that's also super small, super compact, and it is relatively budget friendly. Of course, this MacBook Pro is probably the most expensive piece of this whole puzzle, but it's doing a lot. And then I have an iPad. You could probably just get a used iPad. You don't need a powerful iPad for this type of scenario just to run this app. And this guy, only $600 for being a digital mixing console. It's just unbelievable what it can do. If you're actually looking to buy an audio interface that has like more than 4 inputs and you want to have like 16 inputs, I would just get this. Don't spend your money on a regular audio interface that all it has is a bunch of inputs and, you know, very little options for outputs. So this could double, and this is how it doubles for us, as an audio interface. And if I ever need a super portable sound system, this guy is the heart of that. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this setup. I'd love to hear if you are a X Air power user out there and using one of these for your church, let us know how it's been going for you. And I hope this just inspires you guys, give you some ideas of what's possible out there. I don't necessarily recommend this is the best setup for everyone. 16 channels can be very limiting, especially when you're trying to have like a full-size band, you're trying to mic a whole drum set, you'll just simply run out of channels. But you could have something similar to this with like the X32 rack, right? And then you'll have 32 inputs and 16 outputs. And then your church could be very well off with that type of system for a long time. Our team is helping small to mid-sized churches all the time when it comes to building this custom tech infrastructure for their ministry, as well as teaching them how to use this technology. So if you want to learn more about that, just check out worshipleaderschool.com. I'll link that below in the description. We'd love to connect with you in the near future to see if our program is the right fit. So click that link to learn more and visit worshipleaderschool.com. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you found it helpful, hit that thumbs up button and share it with your friends in ministry. You can check out some related videos right over here, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our latest content to help you grow yourself and grow your church.